Oh, the great escape is on for Sheffield Wednesday. Ah,
He's
that's
back.
more
He's
like it.
here. I told you he'd be here again. He's here.
Lucky us. Right. We are talking Sheffield Wednesday against Bristol City this weekend. We are reviewing or previewing that game with Andrew, our regular fan, and our guest again is Matt. How are you both? How are you, Andrew, first?
Well, very happy, buzzing after the win at Millwall. It's been payback, one after the other. Birmingham City, Millwall, and now Bristol City on their way. Another payback. You watch.
And how are you, Matt? Enjoyed that one, did you?
Yeah, very good, Mark. I won't lie to you. I'm still in the depths of a 2-day hangover here from the weekend. So it's clearly a good Saturday.
I can hear your vocal cords just about returning to normal. And we're going to bring in Sam in a second, our Bristol City fan, and look at the game. Let's look back at the Millwall game then. 2 shots on target, but scored both. Andrew, you talked about goals. You don't need all these shots on target. 2 shots, 2 goals.
Well, as long as they go in. They had 2 shots as well on target. Luckily, theirs didn't go in. But our keeper's been doing the job. Beadle's been a good lad. He's fine. He's delivering. The defence were tight on Saturday as well. They were up for it. The whole team was up for it. Midfield, worked really hard. They were very hard. Millwall just couldn't get through our midfield at all. And then the goals, quality, sure quality, and obviously Masaba to get the run that he had to sort of make the first goal for Ugbo. And then the second goal to be right there, lovely through ball for Barry Bannan, and then he's placed it right into the corner. Lovely jubbly, 2-0. Thank you very much. Good night. 3 points.
Yeah, some limbs in the away end where you were, Matt. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, it was exactly what you would expect from 2 teams at that end of the table. It was a really, really cagey affair for the opening 20-odd minutes or so. First bit of genuine real quality from either side was the interplay to get the ball to Masaba. It's the first time in a couple of weeks that he's squared his man up and gone straight past him. He's full of pace, and when he's the other side of a defender, you always back him to kind of like get away from him, as it proved. Biggest piece on that first one was the delivery of the ball into the box. You've then got runners into the box, which we haven't had for a couple of weeks when results haven't been going our way. Tap in for Ike Ogbo. And the second one is, I know people will get bored of listening to Sheffield Wednesday fans bang on about him, but the ball from Barry Bannan is outstanding. It is perfectly weighted. It's just a straight pass, but the amount of times you will see players in this division overhit that pass, it is perfectly delivered in stride to Masaba. It's a very calm finish. He's 6 yards out. You'd expect it to happen, and that was pretty much the afternoon after that, because I think both sides after that huffed and puffed. Millwall in particular. I don't want to do him a disservice. Obviously, not being a Millwall fan, I don't want to slate them too much, but huffed and puffed. But honestly, it was as relatively comfortable an away win as a side down the bottom end of the table are going to get all season.
Yeah. Ashley Fletcher, Andrew, was clearly looking for a day off. We can't explain the silly yellows, but I've read a couple of people saying, well, you should actually drop him now for the rest of the season and just put Gregory there instead. Would you agree with that?
Well, if Fletcher had a brain, he'd be dangerous, and it really is chaotic. To go on and do what he did, they're just ludicrous. It's just cheap, such cheap sort of nonsensical performance. I dare say that Danny Roll must have really sort of had a go at him after the game. I know he was on a high for the win, but I dare say he probably took him into the room quietly and had a word with him and said, this is ridiculous. You don't just go on there to get sent off. Just as well we had a 2-goal cushion when it went, because if it was only 1-0, it would have been certainly squeaky bum time for sure. But he's got to be out of the equation for the time being, as far as I'm concerned. Keep him and Pedersen as much out of there for the time being as we can until we're sort of safe, and then give him a run out later in the season, get him on as subs, last 5 minutes of a match, and that's fine.
Okay, and Matt, Barry Bannan, as you mentioned, is he going down into Wednesday folklore now as a Wednesday icon? He seems to be Mr. Sheffield Wednesday to us, and I don't know how long he's going to carry on playing for, but I'd imagine you'd have him playing at 40 at this rate, wouldn't you? Well, past 40.
100%. I think he's become so synonymous with our football club. Over the 8 years that he's been here. He's actually out of contract at the end of the year. He's 34. I would be signing him up for, if not another year, at least 2. Just because he is that vitally important to us as a club. Not necessarily for what he does on the pitch in those upcoming 2 years. I still think he has a part to play. But I do think it is vitally important that we keep hold of a player of that quality at this point in where kind of like the club sits. He is. I mean, legend is thrown around a lot today in modern football. It's very rare that you get a player who shows the loyalty that he has to the club. Because let's get it right, a couple of years ago he could have left when we went down, and I think there would have been a number of takers within the division had he left. He could have left before that. He's had the opportunity since to go, and he has stayed and openly said on record that he would like to finish his career here. I think every single Wednesday fan would like to see that also, because he has been a tremendous servant to this football club, and he really is still at 34 years of age. And I mean, I know that's no age really. He is still churning out match-winning performances and real game-winning moments, which aside from him, we have very few players who have that quality within the team. And he, again, I just think he is so vitally important to everything that we do. That's not to take away from the other good performances that we did see on Saturday. Deschamps Bernard, Paul Valentin in particular, I thought, aside from Masaba and Ugbo, who got the goals and the assists, I thought were absolutely outstanding on the day as well.
No doubt Barry Bannan has been the best midfield player we've had this century. And to me, it's sort of, I put him in a sort of comparison slightly under the likes of Tommy Craig and John Sheridan, who we had before. I saw them as midfield players, absolute sheer quality, sheer class. And Barry Bannan's not far off their level. Incredible player.
All right, then let's talk about the Great Escape then. Let's have a look at the home games then that we've got for each side. We are 6 home games now away from the end of the season, after obviously Bristol City the weekend. If you compare your home games to the others, Plymouth, Leeds will be tricky, Swansea, Norwich might be tricky, Stoke and West Brom, that might be tricky. Do you think you've got the hardest run in at home of the 4 sides down there?
No, I don't think so. I remember I said to you last week that I think that we're capable of getting 15 points from our home games. So that means I'm even accepting a defeat there amongst those 6 games, or else we could have 3 wins or 4 wins and 2 draws. Perhaps that's going to be 14 points. Yeah, I'm very confident that with minimum we're going to pick up out of those 6 home games be 14 points, but I'm hoping for 15.
And of course, on there are your trips to Queen's Park Rangers and to Rotherham to come as well, which are going to be huge, aren't they?
Rotherham have gone. Rotherham have already gone. Seriously, they're finished. They're gone. They're history. QPR will stay up as we will. Remember, I told you this 2 months ago. I said both Wednesday and QPR are going to escape. Mark my words, I'm right.
Okay. Matt, whose fixtures would you want out of those 4 on the screen there?
Yeah, I do tend to agree with Andrew in terms of just the gap to Rotherham and the quality that's in the side. I do feel that is too big of a gap for them to claw back at this point in time. Aside from that, I mean, I think we have a comparable fixture list with maybe Huddersfield. I'd maybe only take QPR's over ours. The only difference that I think that you've got in there is I do think that a couple of those games are teams around them. And those are games that you do need to win. I know it sounds really silly saying this from a team that is second bottom of the division. I don't think it is, with no disrespect to the upcoming fixture, obviously on Saturday. I think there are harder run-ins that are out there than ours at home. And it will be, you have to beat the teams that are around you, and the position that we've put ourselves in. You're going to have to beat one of those teams at home, one of those teams that is unexpected for us to beat at home. I would maybe circling possibly Norwich, perhaps West Brom if they've secured a playoff spot by that last home game. But those would be the only 2 out of those that I would be thinking those are ones that you really have, that you could afford to drop points in just because of the situation that we've put ourselves in.
Okay.
I'm surprised, Mark, you only showed the 4 teams there, because trust me, Stoke City are right in that mix. Stoke City are right down there, and even Birmingham and Swansea could be sucked in. Then it's not over 13 matches, a lot of games still in that league, 13 matches.
It's on my other slide with the 4 teams just above it. Okay, let's bring in our Bristol City fan then, Sam. Sam was there when Barry Bannan was sent off at Ashton Gate in the explosive bonfire night fixture early in November. Sam, what did you make of Wednesday then, and what sort of a game do you expect at Hillsborough this weekend?
Yeah, to be fair, when they come down to our place, I thought over the 90 minutes they were probably the better side. We nicked a 1-0 win. Barry Bannan getting sent off was pretty harsh, as you said, but it's football, innit? We took the 3 points and we moved on.
What sort of shape are Bristol City in going to Hillsborough? Because you've had some funny results, beating Southampton, then losing, of course, to QPR. I'm sure Wednesday fans didn't like that result very much. But how are you going at the moment, and what sort of signs are you going to take up there?
To be fair, up until the Middlesbrough game, just before Southampton, we hadn't won since Boxing Day. And then we got back-to-back wins. We ended Southampton's great run with, if we would have put 5 past Southampton, nobody could have complained. But then it was the same old Bristol City, the inconsistent Bristol City. We turned up against QPR and we looked a totally different team to what we did on Tuesday night.
Okay. All right, let's get some score predictions then. Matt, you can go first with this one. Back at Hillsborough, Bristol City, going to be a home win, isn't it?
I said yesterday, I will stick by what I'd said. I think 1-0 at home is a reasonable scoreline just because of, as Sam said, how close the game was at Ashton Gate. It really was a toss of a coin game on that day, and it was still relatively early days under the new manager. I think we are a strong proposition at home, irrespective of the league position of where we currently sit. I think 1-0. I think this is going to finally be the day since mid-November 2022 where we do score from a corner. So I do think that is going to happen at some point. Why not? Why can't it be Saturday?
Okay. Andrew, what do you reckon?
Well, the 21st of August 1971, I was a teenager, and Wednesday suffered their biggest ever home defeat, first match of the league season. You know who that was against? Yes, Bristol
City.
5-1 at Hillsborough. Nightmare. Long time ago, but don't worry about that because it's not happening this week. Not a chance. No, I'm going to be playing the same game I've been playing for the last few weeks, actually. I kept saying 2-1 wins against Birmingham and Millwall, and it ended up being 2-0. And I'm going to play the same game here. I'm saying 2-1 to Wednesday, and it'll probably end up being 2-0. But 2-1 is my prediction. Wednesday, we're going to get the win. But luckily, Bristol City have dropped far enough away from the playoff positions now to perhaps be a little bit downhearted, and we need to take advantage of that. Because if they'd have beaten QPR, they'd have been on a real run, a real high, and it would be a far more dangerous game for us. But I'm hopeful. We want this. Come on.
All right. So they're hoping that your players are on the beach already, Sam, in February. What do you reckon?
I'm going to go with Andrew's first score, 5-1 Bristol City.
Yeah, right.
No, I think, after the performance against QPR, this team got something to prove, and we're going to go out to Hillsborough and get a 2-0 win.
Nice one.
Yeah, we'll sort it out.
All right.
He'll be back next week, Mark. He'll be back. Don't worry about that.
Right. We will catch you all next week then. Sheffield Wednesday against Bristol City. Sky Bet Championship. Put your comments below. Give us some score predictions. And if you're a Wednesday fan and haven't yet followed these two, please do so. Their Twitters are in the comments as well if you want to follow them on Twitter. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Mark.
Take care.
And you.